Okay, so I don't think this review is going to take longer than we think. I think it's going to be shorter because I think what we have our thoughts are going to be pretty direct. So before we start, I wanted to share with you a little life experience I had yesterday at the DMV. So,
Oh God.
did I tell you that I went to the DMV yesterday?
You
Yeah,
told me
right?
you went to the DMV, but I also know what's happened to you at the DMV.
Okay, so yesterday I went to the DMV for the first time in like, Jesus, 3 years. I haven't had to go because I just went there when I picked up my license when I moved here, and so I had to renew it because it was gonna expire on the 31st.
Mhm.
So I went to renew my license and I checked in ahead because I had to do like a little. It's really easy to just renew it when you don't have to change your address, but I had to change my address, so I had to show like paperwork that like a proof of like that I'm living here.
Mm.
So the process should not have taken as long as it did. So I went to the DMV. They open at 9, and at 9 I went. Like I drove from the place that I'm currently living to the DMV. I live really close to it, so it only took me like less than 10 minutes to get to drive there.
Yeah.
But I got there and I brought proof that I live here, my previous license, any kind of paperwork that I thought they might ask, I brought it with me. And in the past recent months, I have become a what the internet likes to call a tote bag motherfucker. So
Okay.
I've become a tote bag motherfucker. So in this, I brought paperwork. I brought like my sunglasses. I brought keys and headphones and a coffee mug. Just a coffee tumbler. Just so I become like an environmentally conscious tote bag motherfucker. I totally don't do it for the fit. I do it because I care about the earth. That's a lie. I do it for the fit. So I carried that and I came in walking in like, fuck yeah, I am the most organized person at this DMV. I'm just going to walk in and be like, I have everything you need. And I walked in and it's been like, it's like 9:30 or something. And I walk in and the place is full. It's full of people. There's so many lines. There's a kid dressed as Spider-Man that's yelling and crawling on the floor. It is horrible. And this DMV it's inside of a mall, okay? But it's at the corner side of a mall. So it's like, it's right at the exit. So it's hot. You expect, oh, it's a mall, so it's like the AC. No, it's at the exit. So it's hot. And I'm there and I get there and I get to the end of the line and there's a guy, kind of like guiding all the lines, and he goes like, hey, like, what are you gonna do here? And I was like, oh, just renewal of license and change of address. And he's like, do you have proof of new address? And I'm like, yes. And he goes, does your physical ID have that new address? And I said, no. And he said, well, is the proof of address in your name? And I'm like, no, it's at the tenant's name. And they go, well, you're going to need paperwork that legally says that you're living there and that it's in their name. So you can't do this. So I was like, okay, fuck. So I had to drive back home, pick up another piece of paper, come back. And then I bring in the piece of paper and they go, this is a copy. We need the original one. And I'm like, this is a copy of the original one. Why are you like this? Why are you making this process so much more complicated than it needs to be? So I have to download this PDF document through my phone, and it doesn't work at the start. So I have to use a different browser to get that same piece of paper. PDF, and then I have to download it. And then after I finish the process, they want to charge me like the equivalent of, it's 58 pesos. So it's like $30. They want to charge me $3 so I can have this PDF document with me at all times. So I do that because I saw a video of the previous president doing it. So I know how to do it. So I try to download it. It doesn't work. I have to return to the previous browser to download this piece of paper. Oh, this PDF. And then finally, when I have everything, I have to make a line. I get to the end of the line. They take my picture. They take my fingerprints. I present the paperwork. They accept the one that was a copy, like right from the get-go. They accepted. So now I pay $3 for nothing. Then I finish that. They send me to a different line. I get to the start of the line. I sign the release. They give me another piece of paper that I now have to take to a different line so that I can pay for the license renewal. Then luckily there's no line there. So I go directly. I pay 770 pesos, which is like $35. And then I pay, and then they give me another piece of paper, and they send me to another line. And I'm at the end of the line, and a guard comes up to me and goes, "You don't have to be on this line. You could just wait outside. You'll bring your license to you." And I'm like, "This is the efficiency. That's my tax. This is my tax money at work. Fuck yeah!" So I go stand outside, and then after like 10, 15 minutes, a guy comes up to me and he's like, "Here's your license." So he gives it to me, and I realize that my eyes were closed during the picture. That's a joke. It's not, but that would have been a funny ending. So they just give me the license, and I just I fuck off. And that whole process. Guess how much time it took?
Say at least 2 hours.
2 hours, sir. You are generous. It took me 4 hours.
Did your headphones hold out the whole time you were there?
Yes.
Oh, thank
yes,
God.
They did.
Thank God.
Yes, they did.
Oh my
yes,
God.
They did. So that's the story of my time at the DMV yesterday.
And folks, you all want to hear a funny story real quick? That's
Please.
Only the second worst DMV experience that Chema's ever had. Only the second worst.
It's only the second worst.
That's a story for our Patreon someday.
It's a story for another day, but a good one. So subscribe for that.
And
4 fucking hours.
Jesus.
4 fucking hours just to get a license that says that I am okay to drive.
Just don't get pulled over. You don't need a license. Just don't get pulled over.
I've never gotten pulled over.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Just don't get pulled over.
Well, that's a lie. I crashed once, but nothing bad happened. So that's the closest I've been.
Everyone lived. It's fine. It's fine.
Nobody got hurt, really. So so that's the story. This is why you subscribe.
Off the record, like Jesus Christ, that reminds me of college, but somehow worse. No, why? You know what? That's on the record. Fuck you, TRGV, and everything. Look, I want to go on record here.
Yeah.
The staff is fucking phenomenal. Like the teachers are great. The support staff is great. The administration can go suck a dick, though. Every
student that has worked for any kind of building or organization, good for them. They were trying.
Yeah. Student workers are great.
When I worked at the university, and my bosses were great. Like that's my gold standard to this day.
Shit,
they were great. But yeah.
I know.
All right, so
let's jump into the review. Thank you for welcoming us onto your headphones. I'm Chip.
And I'm John Mulaney.
Where's Olivia Munn? And this is the rollback reviewing Chippendale
Rescue Rangers. Okay, Chippendale Rescue Rangers. It's not a reboot, it's a comeback. Decades since their successful television series was canceled, Chip has succumbed to a life of suburban domesticity and insurance salesman. Dale, meanwhile, has had CGI surgery and works the nostalgia convention circuit. Desperate to relive his glory days, when a former castmate mysteriously disappears, Chip and Dale must repair their broken friendship and take on their Rescue Rangers detective personas once again to save their friend's life. So, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, new movie directed by Akiva Schaffer, who is one of the guys from Lonely Island, starring another guy from Lonely Island, Andy Samberg, and a fellow SNL legend, John Mulaney, portraying Chip and Dale in a movie that we thought was just going to be a random reboot, and turns out a little bit more meta than we could have anticipated. So, movie dropped into our Disney Plus accounts last week, I think a couple weeks ago, and we finally saw it. I'm going to let you go first because I think you have more thoughts than I do, and I think this is going to be an episode where we disagree. So,
oh shit,
I'm gonna let you go first. Go ahead.
Here's my opening statement. This is the oh god, okay, I can get through this.
Yeah,
this might be the second best detective film of the year.
Second best detective. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're really gonna disagree today. Okay.
Well, I can't think of any other detective films of this year that have been any good. But no, okay, like I actually really like this. Like it was so
Okay.
meta, but it broke me. But it was so funny. Like, okay, before we were about to watch it, and me and Nikki, we were
Mhm.
getting ready. We're gonna watch it before we fall asleep or whatever.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, I'll just be on my phone or whatever while you're watching it. It's fine." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
She puts her phone down. She starts laughing her ass off during the movie. Like it gets so meta. It gets so crazy. It gets fucking hilarious. Like
Mhm.
the scene that made me like break down crying to a point where I had to pause the movie so I could like calm down
Mhm.
was when I found out that I think was it Dale or Chip that was the insurance salesman.
It's the John
Chip.
Mulaney one. So
It's
Chip, yeah, yeah.
when I saw that Chip was an insurance salesman, that broke me. That broke
Okay.
me because he sold out to corporate America, and I understand that in more ways than I care to admit. Like, oh god, it broke me on the inside. Like him selling the insurance, I'm like, I know people like this. I've seen this. I've lived this. Just like saying, like he's been broken down. He's like a former star. I don't know. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. Dale's antics. He's funny. He reminds me so much. I've been binge watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine for the past couple of days, like leading up
Yeah.
to it. So
Yeah.
like I'm really high on like Jake Peralta. So the fact
Yeah.
that there was a lot of Jake Peralta-ness in there, I'm like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
great. And I think maybe that's why the writing made this such a. I'm not gonna say it's an amazing detective film, but it was good. It was entertaining. They were following clues.
Yeah.
There was stuff to it, and then there's so much meta-ness to it. I want to highlight another scene that broke me.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you think this is good, but this is all fronts. That guy does this. This guy does this. Oh, and that little girl, Muppet fights again.
Oh,
Broke me. What? Muppet fights, and then the angry eyebrows of the cheese guy. Y'all cops or what? Like, I love the meta-ness. If Roger Rabbit was like crazy meta and amazing at cartoons in I think like
Mhm.
the 90s, Chip
Yeah.
and Dale is like the spiritual successor to that film in every way, shape, and form.
Mhm.
If anything, it's better. Also, bootlegged. Come on, like I don't know how we're gonna be on opposite ends because this is so meta but so funny. I don't know how we're gonna be on opposite ends, but mate, you go.
I like this movie in theory. Okay, no, backwards. I don't like it in theory. I like it in practice. That makes sense.
No, explain.
Because, okay, as a movie, it's fine. Like it's totally fine. It's totally, it's its own thing. It's doing its own thing, and I can respect it for it. And I love Lonely Island. So whenever they do anything, like I'll watch it. If you've seen Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping, Jesus Christ, it's one of the funniest movies of the last decade. Um, yeah, racism, knock it off. Homophobia, knock it off. Like that was fucking amazing. So when I saw, okay, it's the same team, I'm gonna like this. And the problem here, and I cannot believe I'm the one that's gonna bring this up when it should be you. My problem is with Disney on this one.
What?
Okay, and
Okay.
we're on opposite ends usually on this. I'm usually pro Disney. You're usually anti Disney, and this one, I don't know why, but if this is their attempt to be like, hey, look at us, we're self-aware, like we know we know what's up, we've seen the TikToks, how do you do, fellow kids? If this is them being self-aware, they missed the mark on, like, by a long shot. Like this is if this is so unaware of itself, putting a coat of paint that they're self-aware, that it is kind of hard to see. It is kind of hard to look at. Okay, there's a lot of things that I find that I find in this movie that don't work, and I hate to make this comparison. Because it's not fair. But it reminded me of like Big Bang Theory, where there's no joke; it's just references. Like Big Bang Theory will be like, hey, look, we have a TARDIS, and it's like, okay, what's the joke? You have a TARDIS from Doctor Who. What's the joke? They got the model for Ugly Sonic, which, that could have been a good joke, but they don't do anything with it. Like, he's just there. He's voiced by a funny actor, but he's just kind of standing there. And I understand the concept. It is kind of a spiritual successor to Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit even cameos in this, but I just don't feel like they didn't do enough with it to actually make it work. Roger Rabbit worked. If you took out all the licensed cartoon characters, the movie still works because it's a good noir. It's a good story. It's got great characters. That everything else is just there to amplify it. Here, it's kind of like Ready Player One, Space Jam 2. The characters are there, but their personalities are not there because they are portrayed as like, actors. And something funny can be done with that, but I just don't feel like there was enough. I giggled a couple times, but like, for example, I've been watching the new season of Stranger Things in the past like couple days. I cracked up so hard on the first episode on one scene more than I laughed in this entire movie. And this is, like I said, this is not a bad movie. I just feel like its intentions are not in the right place. And also, there's one thing that either Disney was not aware of this or they are. And if they are and they still did this, it was an extremely poor taste.
What?
And that was the thing with Peter Pan. So everything about the Peter Pan, he didn't get more jobs, and then he turned into drugs, and so that's what happened to his voice actor, and he ended up like, yeah, he ended up like he's dead. So like, either they were not aware of that story, which I doubt, because if they were and they still did that, like that's an extremely poor taste. And I can take a black humor, I can, but that. Jesus Christ, like that was mean-spirited.
Well, yeah. I on a lot of social media feeds, I remember there are times where people will make like fan art of like Disney stuff or whatnot, and there was one of like Snow White getting tattoos of all seven dwarves on her arm or whatever. I remember there's one of like a grown-up Lilo with like Stitch and like they're at college. It's one of those. And one of them was Peter Pan, like at a bar, just like drinking, and he looked the same exact fucking design. Like, but this was 5 years ago, so I'm thinking, did they see that? And then they were like, "Here's our bad guy."
Maybe, but from what I've heard, there was another character that was supposed to be the villain, and then they just changed it to Peter Pan so that they wouldn't have to use like license fees or anything. Like they could just
who's
use
the other
their
character?
design. I don't remember, but I do remember someone else being like in consideration to play the villain. Mm-hmm. So like I said, the closest thing that I can compare this to is like, remember that movie Enchanted from like 2007, 2008? Enchanted is kind of like this movie. Like it's kind of like them poking fun at those tropes. The only problem with that movie is that it's made by Disney. So, that movie was kind of self-aware, but they didn't use like licensed character. Like they just reuse their tropes and they just put them in like, hey, what would happen if this was in the real world? And that worked, and it's funny, and that movie's great. And this one, I think, goes like doubles down on that. And by using the licensed characters, from what I've heard, they got permission from all these different studios to use those characters because they promised them that they wouldn't be using them in a bad light.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool of them. I don't know. I feel like this movie tries to do like fun concepts. Like I love the idea that, they're actors in real life and one of them got the CGI surgery to look CGI and the other one stayed 2D, and they just mix and match those two styles through the entire movie. That's kind of cool. So there are cool ideas in this. I just don't feel like at the end the product is inherently great or fantastic or one of the best movies of the year. It's fine, but I'm worried that movies, especially movies made by Disney, are starting to become like you need to have previous context of things that happen or the things that are going on like the World Wide Web or or word of mouth in order to understand that, because it happened, spoilers, when we saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and we saw John Krasinski play Reed Richards, because that's been a fan campaign for so long. And I'm afraid that they're going to start to listen, because sometimes we, the fans, are not the best people to tell you how to make a movie. We don't know how to make a movie. We just see, oh, this guy looks like this guy. It should work. We don't know if it's the right choice. Okay. We shouldn't have the last word. And with this movie, like, for example, let's go back to Ugly Sonic. Like, what's the joke? That I was alive and that I was on Twitter when Ugly Sonic was a thing, and like, and now they bring it back. Like, I don't like. What if I didn't know that? Like, what would be the joke? Like, how would they understand it? I don't feel like I don't want to have to go to a movie with context. I don't want to. I don't want to go to a movie like knowing like all the workarounds before it to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy a movie. And maybe I'm the only one that thinks like this. Maybe I'm just, I'm projecting, but that really hindered my enjoyment of the movie. Yeah.
I'm looking up the film right now. It says the budget was just below $70 million. I don't know if they would have made that. They released this in the box office, maybe.
Probably not. Like, it's niche. It's really niche, but it tries to appeal to like a lot of people. I don't know if they were trying to do like their Shrek, maybe.
Yeah. I'm okay. This is not a little Shrek. You're like, no, not being a Shrek.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But no, actually, I did bring that up though during the film. I was like, I love that Disney's taking shots at itself, but it's also not taking the shots that are risky. Like, it's not going to take shots at Marvel or Star Wars because those are its big money makers. But Peter Pan, what the fuck are they going to do with the Peter Pan property? Come on.
Yeah,
or the Little Mermaid. They didn't use Ariel. They used Flounder, the like third banana of that film.
Yeah.
So you're right. They were taking like pot shots, but they were taking shots at like the safe.
They were taking slaps on the wrist. Like it was nothing.
Yeah, they weren't risking any. Because imagine if they did like a real like deep dive into like the problem with the Disney princesses or.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if they went that far. Like,
yeah, because their self-awareness is becoming like it's not self-aware enough. And like there's a point in the middle. There is, because the extreme would be what they did with Peter Pan. And the other extreme is like what they did with the princesses in Wreck-It Ralph 2. Like, that was super unself-aware. There's somewhere in the middle that could work, and this movie tries to get on that middle, but I don't think it's in the middle enough. Because I'm not saying I want a super dark oh god, the princesses are on drugs movie. I don't need that, but this one is more to the other extreme than on this one. And like I said, the Peter Pan thing is extremely in poor taste. Like, it's so mean-spirited. Like I said, it's kind of hard to watch when they did that.
See, and I think maybe that affects your viewing of it because not like you in particular, but like in general, because I had no idea of that. I just thought it was like, washed up, former child actor. So I thought, oh, this is fucking amazing. I love all this. Like, this is great. Now that I know that, it's like, oh man, that might be like, that does change. That changes the way you view the damn movie now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I said, I shouldn't come in with context, but I am coming in with context. So,
well, the thing is though, if they expect you to come in with the context on like Ugly Sonic, like if you have context on like what went down on everything else, like that matters. Like, it all. Yeah. You either go in all in and you take it all as it is, or you go in completely blank and you take it as is. Yeah. It all varies.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay. Well, shit, man, that makes it a little harder to talk about this now.
No, and I don't want what I think to hinder the enjoyment of anyone in the movie. It's just that
for you,
I hate being this person, but can you imagine kids watching this and enjoying it?
I mean,
I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the think of the children person, but is the things that we enjoyed as kids, have they completely changed? Have they become like something completely different? Like, kids, like, did you see that video? Did you saw the second Sonic movie?
I did not.
Okay. Do you care?
No.
Okay, so at the end of the second Sonic movie, there's a post-credit scene where we see the character Shadow. You know Shadow, right?
I've heard of that, yeah.
Okay, so he's like Sonic, but he's black and red, and he's like his anti counterpart thing. So he's like a legendary character, yeah. So I saw like public reaction, like theater reaction, and he shows up, and there's kids going like, "Is that Sonic.exe?" Like, do you know what Sonic.exe is?
No.
it's like a creepypasta. It's like a fan made game of like, you know, an evil Sonic trying to kill you. Like that's the whole thing.
Jeez, okay.
So like kids know Sonic.exe because they're way more connected on the internet because they idolize content creators and they're into that shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But like it's gotten to the point where like that's where it is. And like I'm not blaming kids, you know, they're growing up in a different way, but like they know more of the meta than they do of the actual canon of something. And I think this movie is trying to please that perspective. Like, oh, you remember Ugly Sonic? I'm like, fuck yeah, I remember Ugly Sonic. It happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't been that long. And I just don't think it was, I just don't think they did enough with that concept. Like, you think it's better than Roger Rabbit? I'm sorry, I disagree. I think Roger Rabbit is a fucking masterpiece.
I've never really. Okay, it's been years since I've seen Roger Rabbit, but like I don't know. I was just a fan of this film in general, as far as like the interplay, the things that they do, the acting, the tropes. Like they even said at one point they tried to get a little overly like, oh, we know what's going on. When it came to sorry, what's called when it came down to like who was it, the captain or so and so? I was like, that's too obvious. It should be this person. And then it goes back. Well, it's me. Well, why'd you do it? Well, they caught me before my mother, the surgery. It was for money. It's not that complicated. Like, come on, like that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
No, and then I don't know. It was just so much that I liked about this one because of how meta it was. And I'm well aware they were taking safe shots, but also I can't help but appreciate the animators that did this, the director that did this. Because they have to have visions that we don't. Because they're actively playing with multiple characters that are not there. They need to be properly animated, shadowed in. Also, these concepts that we would never think of like, oh, look, I got the 3D surgery. It's like, wait, what? Yeah. That's a thing?
That was fucking genius. Yeah, I love
like
that.
Shit like that. Yeah. Like I remember I saw a post where it had Chip and Dale both on the thing, but one was 2D and one was 3D. I'm like, did they are they gonna do a 3D or 2D? Like is this a fuck up or what? And then they show like no, he was trying to relive his glory days.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think the meta-ness of it also helps it to some degree. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but
no.
The fact that they were self-aware, I like that.
Yeah, I like that. I think I would have liked it if they were more self-aware, but I don't think they're going to. So
this is what we got.
Of course. And like I said, this is not bad. This is not a terrible movie. It's not. It's just that it takes a concept that could have been exploited so much more. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's like you used to say, you know, you see something that can be, you can do so much with this concept, and it's a missed opportunity. Yeah, that's what I see it. The other day you took my line. You took the worst thing a movie can be is boring. Yeah. Now I'm taking yours. Like when you said when you said like this is horrible because it's not. Well, it's not horrible. It's just it's not great because it could be great, and it's hindered by itself. And like I agree with that. Now that being said, this is in no ways a bad movie. Like it's not. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's got some good scenes. I hate to say this. I love Andy Samberg. I love John Mulaney. I don't think they brought their A game to this. I think Andy Samberg did brought like more energy, but John Mulaney, who has, I think, one of the most recognizable funny voices like ever, I don't think he did enough. Or maybe it's because he was giving the serious character. Yeah. But even when he's saying serious things, like he still has that voice, and I don't think he did it to like his best potential. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he's going through. I don't know, but it could have been better for both. The only voice actor that I thought like killed it was J.K. Simmons as a Gumby detective. Like he was fucking great.
You know what would have been great if that was Captain Holt. Come on, tell me that wouldn't have been a perfect.
That would have been great. That would have been great. Yeah. But yeah, no. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna bring something up. You mentioned also a lot of like, are kids watching this? Because this might not be necessarily good for kids for the stuff that they're seeing. And maybe I'm taking this wrong when you said it, but it kind of reminds me of like there's two jokes in the first Shrek that I remember that I didn't understand that now I do. One is like, that's a big castle. Do you think it's compensating for something? I'm sure all the adults in the theater were laughing their ass off at that.
Yeah.
But me as a kid was like, because he's short.
What does compensating mean? But they don't know that he's short. They haven't met him. Yeah.
No, but we know. I know. Yeah. So I'm like, because he's short. Like I thought like it was a little person joke. I didn't realize it was a little thing joke. Yeah.
Yeah. Little dick joke. Yeah.
Or the other one. What was the other one? Lord Farquaad. What do you think that means? Fuckwad. Like the studio was shocked that they never got called out on it. They're like, we're gonna let us call him Fuckwad? Cool. Yeah. But again, as a kid, you don't notice those things. You go along with the ride, the jokes that you do pick up, funny, and that's it. So I wonder if Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, I wonder if this is going to go forward as like a thing where like kids will go back and rewatch it when they're older. The same way we go back and rewatch Shrek and like pick up on the shit that they never picked up on.
Yeah. It's just, okay, two things with that. I don't disagree, but a couple of things. One, Shrek was making fun specifically to the Disney tropes, but it was not made by Disney. It was made by a direct competitor, which was DreamWorks. And I don't know, the fact that Disney is making this joke themselves at their expense hinders them from going all the way with it. So I saw Chip and Dale. I did not see like a joke that would go past the children's head. The most that they went with is at the start when they go like, you hear Chip and Dale, you probably think of like this scientist, or you think of these guys, and then they show like the male dancers, which he goes full Jack Peralta on that voice where he goes, guess who just got murdered, so that's like the farthest that they'll go. I think this movie is made more to like jokes on people who care about the movie business or studio interference or like who knows history of like washed up actors. It is made for people like us. Now I want to reiterate, I do not care what children watch. That's not in my agenda, but I do think like, one, will children enjoy this, and two, will adults enjoy this? Like, will anyone enjoy this? I'm glad that you and Nikki enjoyed it. I just think that maybe I don't want to say that I expected more, because I didn't expect, because my expectations were barely there. I just wanted to see some jokes and I wanted to see some cool animation, and I got some of both. So like, this is totally, like I said, I don't want it to sound like I hate this movie, because I don't. This movie is, like I said, I only dislike movies that are boring. This is not boring. It's just mid, I guess.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, okay. What final thoughts? Would you watch this movie again if they make a sequel? Because I looked it up. A sequel is potentially in the works, assuming that it does good numbers on Disney Plus. They may allow them to do a sequel. Would you want to see that?
I'd love to see The Lonely Island get more work. So sure, I'd be down to see a sequel. Would I rewatch this? Probably if I'm hanging out with someone who hasn't seen it and wants to see it. Other than that, I probably wouldn't stick it out again. Because not gonna lie, I was falling asleep.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, dude! I worked a full long ass day at work, and I got home and I watched this, and it perked me right the fuck up. Like, this is what I love in film and in movies in general. It's just like, a nice stupid movie that I can just lay back, turn my brain off, and just laugh at a few things and like enjoy it. Yeah. I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, and that's a totally valid reason to like a movie, and that's, like I said, every time that I see a movie that I don't like and we talk about it, I always tell you the same thing. I don't like it, but I'm so glad you did. I tell you this, I think every time we come out of a DC movie, like I'm like, it's not for me, but I'm so glad it's for
they
you.
had the DC joke also with Batman and E.T.
Oh, the Batman and E.T. joke fucking ruled.
Yeah, I was laughing at Dickie. Dickie didn't get it. She's like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, because Superman's an alien, but they couldn't use Superman, so they used E.T.
Yeah. It's like when when I was a kid and I saw Space Jam, and I didn't understand why Marvin the Martian was the referee, because I'm like, well, he's a Looney Tune, like he's supposed to be on the Looney Tunes team, But then I went, oh, he's an alien, so he's on both sides.
So he's neutral. Yeah. I didn't
he's
know that,
neutral.
dude. I didn't know that till years ago when I saw it on Facebook. Why was Marvin the Martian the ref? Because he's the only one that can be neutral. He's a Martian and a Looney Tune.
Yeah, so he has to play for both sides. Yeah, he's Switzerland. Yeah, I think I've gone on my public thoughts. Like I said, if you're curious about it, do give it a watch. Form your own opinion. And but it's not what they're trying to do. It didn't work. It didn't click for me. But I'm glad that it's a thing that exists. I'm glad that it's an experiment that was tested and that it gave us a result. I'm always glad. I will always be happy for experimentation, especially from one of those like studios that feels like sometimes a little stingy to try to do new things. So I'm glad they did it.
They always feel very committee-ish.
Yeah, and so did this. But I'm glad that the team that they got to do this, it's a good team. So I'm glad that it's a thing, like I said, that exists. I give it 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. You?
Honestly, I liked it. I might watch it again. If they do a sequel, I'll for sure watch it. Like it was an enjoyable, stupid movie that I liked. I think I'm slowly becoming a bigger Andy Samberg fan just because of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like I'm enjoying more and more of his comedy and stuff. So, and I like John Mulaney. Like I just do.
Have you seen Palm Springs?
I have not.
Watch it. Watch it with Nikki. You both like it.
Is it a movie or a comedy special?
It's a movie.
Palm Springs?
Yeah, it's with Andy Samberg and the mother from How I Met Your Mother, Kristen Milioti.
Oh, that's got to bang then. That's got to be a good one. Yeah.
But going blind.
Oh, I have seen it. We reviewed it, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
I think.
Or maybe you reviewed it by yourself. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we did. We did see it, but I liked it. It was good. I remember that one. We did.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But no, I'd give this movie a B. Like very rewatchable, very enjoyable. Is it on the level of Shrek? No, but it's in that like wheelhouse of films that's like kind of meta that makes fun of stuff. I like it. So kids, go watch it.
Yeah, and also this is a good spot to also remind you that you and your friends can have different opinions on things and still be friends by the end and happily disagree and just move on with their lives and not fight about it and not yell at each other and be respectful of each other. It's not hard.
Well, also we professionally disagree with each other because we have a podcast. We're pros at this.
Yeah, that's what we do. I'm not saying you need to have a podcast to be respectful. You just gotta be. So there we go.
Get our level, noobs.
Thank you for listening.
If you'd like to hear more about our thoughts on movies, go to the rollback. No, wait. We got rid of that website.
No, that doesn't exist anymore.
You listen to our podcast, go check out our YouTube channel. We post often. We post maybe not often enough, but we're working on it. God damn it. We're adults.
Yeah, we're on Spotify, iTunes, and a lot of other places. Thank you for listening. My name was Chema.
I've been Eddie.
And this was the rollback.
With a reminder to
just not be assholes to each other.
Share your passwords with your friends when it comes to like your Disney Plus.